Going for a relaxed walk in nature with our dogs is beautiful. And it gets especially awesome when we don't need a leash and the dog checks in and we can absolutely trust our dogs and the dogs trust us. And that is, of course, a very, very common goal we dog parents have with our dogs. But is that possible with every dog and a rescue dog? That is what we will look at today, and I will give you my training tips to start. But first, we need to know if this is even possible with every dog. And it depends a lot on your dog's character. So do you have a fearful dog who gets startled very easily and even panics? Then, of course, I would recommend safety first. There is nothing worse than a lost dog. So if your dog still gets startled very easily or even panics, keep the leash on and see in what areas is your dog most relaxed and start working there. And if you have a very wildlife interested dog, so a dog who would go hunting, check where your dog is most relaxed and in which areas your dog listens to you most. Because that is the second part of how we can determine if our dogs are able to run off leash. Do we have a reliable attention cue? So something that tells your dog, look at you. And maybe your dog does that even without a cue, just checks in with you on a regular basis when you have a long line attached to your dog. And the second one is a recall. Is your recall reliable? So do you have a dog who comes when you call? Reliably. And reliably doesn't necessarily mean 10 out of 10 times and always and under every circumstance and with every possible scenario. That is almost impossible to reach because our dogs are living creatures, right? And there will always be something we didn't train or something that makes our dogs listen less well, like if they are sick or whatever. So reliable for me means 9 out of 10 times and with distractions. So see if your dog can do that and see where your dog can do that. So for example, if you walk on a field somewhere and there is no wildlife and no distractions and everything's fine and your dog checks in with you and listens to you and comes when called on the long line and all those things, that does not necessarily mean that your dog will come when there is a deer crossing the path or if you're in a wooded area and there are a lot of smells, right? So if you know that in one area your dog is really reliable, then you can try off-leash in that area. And you can even rent a sniff spot if that is something you have in your area and try it out there first. And then you build it up in every area you need, right? So you train your recall and your attention cue in every area you want to have your dog off leash. And for the first times you want to let your dog run off leash, I would pick an area that is close to your dog's safety zone, so your home or your car. Of course, if you live next to a busy street, don't let your dog run off leash, please. That's too dangerous. But if you live next to a field or whatever and you can let your dog off leash there, I would start there. Of course, after your recall and attention cue are reliable. If the safe zone is close enough, chances are good that your dog will run back to your home or your car where your dog feels safe. And yes, a panicked dog doesn't think and doesn't really have orientation. But the chances that your dog ends up in a safe zone is better than if you are somewhere completely new, right? Same goes for hunting. If your dog runs off chasing after something and you're close to your home or your car, chances are better that your dog finds his way back. And whenever I start having off-leash time with a newer dog, I like to introduce these times and immediately connect them to something fun with me. So I let the dog off-leash and we start doing sniffing games and little tricks and coordination work and everything we can do together. That way, our dogs can connect the off-leash time with fun with us. And that makes the dog reliable again, and it increases the attention toward us as well. And whenever my dog is off leash and checks in with me, I reward that very highly. And if you want to know what you can do with your dog on walks to increase your bond and have fun together on or off leash, click here.